We are live. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah.
I like.
Bit of hip hop porn music.
Yeah.
I'll stop it now because I get harassed about it all the time. Scotty, welcome aboard, brother. It's really good to go live with you, man. It's been a few months of us in the same coaching group, sort of gelling really well. I really love your vibe, dude. I think your outlook on life and also how you train your clients really resonates with myself personally, and obviously what we do in the industry. And it's good to finally get together and have this chat about a topic that's really close to us, because obviously, you know, we were never fit our whole life, and we suffered these kind of February blues, we'll call it,
Absolutely.
when it comes to training. But yeah, it's a good topic to talk to. Is I think coming into, like, I think we're 8% of the year already gone. Gary Vee put up a thing this
Yeah.
morning. 8% of the year gone. It's like 8% is ridiculous. So there's
Yeah.
92% to go. So we've got to navigate this momentum going in. But let's do a brief intro, dude, of
You got it.
who you are, what you do, what you've been doing.
Yeah.
And I'll do the same so you guys can learn who you are and who I am.
No, absolutely, man. Thank you. Appreciate first of all, I just appreciate the friendship. I mean, having two dudes in the same space, you know what I mean? I would say there's a vibe of abundance, you know what I mean? Because sometimes some trainers, like, they keep everything close, you know? And so, yeah, my name is Scott Rodriguez, and originally out of Northern California. I want to say you're probably one of my official first Aussie buddies. So
awesome.
Yeah, no, and I've been doing this for a little bit over 17 years, working with people, helping people, you know, get fit, healthy. Started in a Seattle downtown gym. Fast forward, you know, over 17 years, got myself a gym, and I work remote, and I work in person with people. So, and just really help people build habits, solid mindset, and just in the meantime, let's get fit also, you know?
Yeah. 100%. I like the thing I always introduce my new clients is I want them to get a six pack on their brain before on their body. Like, I think that's really important.
Well, I'm snagging that, man. I'm snagging that.
Yeah, you go for it, man. You know what I'm like. I share enough, man. I think it's perfect in that sort of essence. But 17 years, dude, that's a long time, man, in the industry. Like, you far surpassed me. I'm only year 5, and I feel like I've been in it for 17 years. But yeah, it's good to have like someone with that experience that I can obviously feed off. But I guess we both have our different strengths when it comes to what we do and how we train. So yeah, I'm Mike. I'm from Oz, born and bred in Wollongong, which is about an hour and a half south of Sydney. I've been, like I said, 5 years in the industry. It's I was in construction beforehand. I was always a really good man manager, but fitness was something I always really loved, but I never saw it as a path to purpose. And then with joining the Better Body Academy 5 years ago with Jason and building this thing that's just it's like a home base for people to come. Hey, Dave, home base for people to come to and just be themselves, be proud of who they are, but work on their body and their mindset. And it just fell into this thing that was purpose driven for me, because the more I woke up, the more I hated construction, and I wanted to be in this industry where we get, you know, we create humans rather than create buildings. Right, the buildings stand there and, you know, they look pretty for a while, but humans, they grow and evolve and they build over time. Hey, Glenn. So it's a wonderful thing to actually be involved in that process from the ground up, which is really cool. So yeah, I love that feeling, man. I love waking up in the morning and getting a message of gratitude from one of your clients. Is just I don't know, finally figured out that you know, they're allowed to have a day where they screw up and they can get back up and move forward, rather than, hey, the whole week's ruined now because of one day. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Now, you know what, man, I always tell people, it's like right off our get-go, I have an onboarding call with everybody, and I'll literally tell them this, Mike. I say, hey, guys, we're in the business of progress and not perfection, right? So if you just can remember that, so every time that you want to text me and tell me that you had some wine last night, or you fell off your diet, or you missed your workout, right? Hey, you're better than the last week, so you're good, man, you know?
Yeah, exactly, mate. Yeah, but I think that word perfection really needs to be deleted from the dictionary. I want to go to Webster and say, hey, mate, it's got to go. I think greatness is something that needs to go in as something we can be great at anything. We can't be perfect. We never can be perfect. So if we get through to that mentality, which is actually a really cool thing to lead into what we're talking about. Good segue, by the way.
It wasn't even planned.
The February blues, right? So I'm using that term loosely because we've all got this sense of urgency in January to work on ourselves, work on work in our bodies. And we get all this, feel good stuff after Christmas. It's probably a lot of guilt built in there more than feel good, I guess, more than anything, because we've had 12 months to do something and all of a sudden we haven't done a thing about it. And now we've got to rush into January and get this thing done. So the February blues comes at a really pivotal time in the year. Again, we're 10% into the year. We might have done something, but we've got to this point where there's a whole heap of these things that are happening. You're back to work, your kids at school, the weather's changing, all this stuff's happening, and you're just like, you start to fall apart. And then we just go back to neglecting the one thing that matters the most and should be at the forefront from our mindset is being best version of ourselves possible that we can be. So I thought we'd touch on that and maybe just go to 5 or 6 things that we think make the February blues and what you can do to combat them. And guys, feel free, if anyone's got any questions in the meantime while we're live here, chuck them in the chat box. We'd love to answer them. Or if you have a tip that you think might be useful for anyone jumping into the February blues, let us know. It'd be good to chat about it. I'm thinking for me, the first thing on my mind is lack or loss of motivation.
Sure.
We got that initial excitement of the New Year's resolutions. I hate those. Resolutions aren't the solutions, right? They've worn off and we've hit the gym. We've probably tidied up our diet, but we don't have these results. So our old mate motivation just starts to droop, right?
Yeah.
We have this massive motivation boner in the first week of January. We're excited. And then all of a sudden we get towards the end of the month and she's flaccid. So
it's like a mountaintop experience, right? Right? Mountaintop experience. You get back from camp, you get back from vacation, everything's like, let's go. And reality hits in, right? Because life doesn't stop, right?
Yeah.
So, I think that's a really good one. The motivation stops. I think another one is people start to kind of go back into their old habits, right? We could easily kind of go right into the nutrition aspect where, the beginning of the year, they've decided kind of the route they're going to take. Maybe they're ditching alcohol, maybe they're ditching sugar, maybe they're like, hey, I'm just going to start drinking more water. And it's February 2nd, Mike. Well, the third where you're at, right?
Yeah.
And they're feeling good about it. They get a little cocky, right? And they start letting things back in that haven't served them ever, So they start seeing old patterns start to come back again. And what we've seen, or I've seen, is, the old me's coming back. I guess I really didn't change. So
why do you think that, mate? Like I always resort to that. It's easier to fall back to the thing you've been doing for the last 20 years than work hard on the thing that's new and that's actually going to get you into something that you want to be at. Like obviously it comes down to goals and, whether you've set these obstacles that are too hard, but it's like the old alcoholic, right? They've got through this period. They're 2 years in, they've not drank alcohol. All of a sudden they face adversity. Something happens in their life, and rather than tackle that adversity, which could be like we're talking about now, you change your diet, your new routine of training, something goes wrong, and then all of a sudden you just go, I'm going to hit eject and go back to the drinking or the thing that I was doing before because I'm so used to that, and it's easy for me to do, right? And it's not hard.
Yeah.
The hardest thing is to train, is to be disciplined. The easy thing is to just go back to being a slob.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's the thing, right? Like we as humans, like the path of least resistance, right? And like habits we all have them, right? Positive habits, negative habits, but we're always going to go towards the negative habit. We're just prone to because it's easy, right? So, I know you cold plunge, I cold plunge, and first thing in the morning, water's as cold as whatever, right? That's uncomfortable going outside. You're in the summer, right? You're summertime right now? Yeah, so man. It's different, right? But, you're getting ready, and you're about to go under, you'll be in there for a couple minutes. That takes effort, and it takes like being intentional, right? If you and I want to scroll social, watch Netflix or whatever, that's easy, right? So we're more prone to kind of go with the easy, but the easy never serves us well ever, you know?
Yeah. Never. And you know what? That easy is actually harder than the hard that you're doing by getting yourself back into discipline, because when you go backwards, you go further, and then you have to work harder to get back to where you were start of January or whatever it is. So it's the old adage of choose your hard, right? It's harder to stay stuck, or it's harder to train. So for me, I'd rather sweat my balls off and train hard and eat properly than go back to old habits.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing. It's almost like getting behind, right? This is what I tell my clients. If you put this off for another week, right, you're now behind probably 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? Do that, let's just say a handful of times, man. You're like 20 weeks behind. You do that for a full month, right? Yeah. So that one's a hard one, because then people, that's the tricky one for us, Mike, is how do we break that mindset of like, hey, dude, I got 100 pounds to lose. I might as well just quit right now. So that's a whole different discussion, by the way. But
yeah, it is. But it comes down to like climbing a mountain. It's one step. It comes down to losing weight. It's 1 pound at a time, right? Break it down into smaller, achievable goals, rather than having this massive goal of like one of my clients or my friends that started with me the other day. He's like, "Oh, I've got 51 kilos to lose," and blah blah blah. I'm like, "Yeah, just lose one, and then you've got 50, and then just lose another, and it's 49." Like, it's about 1%, 1% every single day.
Yeah,
I think we've got to take that into account. We're expecting, as humans, we expect results really quickly, and if we don't, we fall back to old habits or fall apart with it. So, yeah, it sucks, and I guess we wouldn't have a job if we didn't have all this happening. But I think for people coming into, especially with you, there's another thing: weather. Like, weather stops people from training, right?
Oh, totally.
Freezing cold. No one wants to get up. There's a nice warm bed there. Your partner's next to you. You snuggle up. I'm not getting up at 4 o'clock to go cold plunge or go to the gym.
Seriously.
So how do you combat that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good one. I mean, I think you start to have the conversations sooner, right? So when I'll sit down with people and we'll have like our consultation, or we'll do our onboarding, right? I'll start to kind of go through what's plagued you in the past, Mike, right? Why aren't you where you want to be at right now? You know, and the struggles start to come out, whether it's depression, you know, you're a dad or a mom, you know, with the kids, and, you know, all these things that are slowing you down. It's like, well, let's talk about this and how are we going to combat this when it happens? Like for you, right? Hey, we're not in the winter time yet, right? So when it does start to get dark, right? What's our game plan? Right?
Yeah.
So I think individually, you just want to have that conversation of like, what is your weaknesses? What are our weaknesses? And how do we combat that, or actually prepare our people to battle? And I think that's why we have have us, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. We're walking with them.
Yeah.
You know, they're not alone anymore. And before, I guess nobody knows if I slept in. Now, Coach Mike knows that if I slept in, because I didn't get anything done today. You know, that's how hard having to check into that. You know.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. And it's like the movie Gladiator, right? He only succeeded because he had an army around him that was helping him along the way. And that's our role in teaching you guys to learn those simple basics of just like wanting it, but doing the right steps to actually make sure you want it. We've got a good question here from Macaulay. It's like, I'm a teacher here and I have a new role at school, which is mentally demanding. Dude, like, you have a tough job being a teacher as it is, regardless. Everything is new. I need more sleep and I need to get in more gym sessions. What is your tip on prioritizing? So, great question. But the good thing is my wife's in the same position. She's a school teacher, has been for 21 years, changed jobs to a school and has the same issue, Macaulay. Dude, I think you're a dad of young kids as well. And I know time is hard, and I know that it's demanding to have a job and also have children to raise. But there's a thing called sacrifice. You are sacrificing now, but if you want it bad enough, you have to make the time. I know you need more sleep, so that entails going to bed earlier, which might be rough to do. You might need to spend time with the family, but if you can prioritize 3 really good gym sessions a week, 3, I'm only asking for 3 out of 7 days, 3 really good ones. Maybe wake up half an hour earlier and get to the gym earlier if you can, if you're an early morning person. It works for my wife. I mean, she's up at like 3:45 every day to go to the gym or go for a walk, because she's got to get out the door at 6:45 and get to work by 8. So she prioritizes that training as part of her non-negotiable. So you have to set that as the groundwork for me. So number one would be do you want it? And I know you do, Macaulay, because you've been training really hard. Number two is just 3 really good gym sessions rather than 6 is heaps better. If you can do it during the week. If not, maybe use Saturday or Sunday as your one other day if it's too hard. But yeah, it's got to come down to going to bed a bit earlier and waking up a bit earlier if you're an early morning person, or maybe training in the afternoon. Again, you'll probably miss out on family time, but it's whether you want that bad. So if you do, you've got to make it a non-negotiable. Yeah. Thoughts, Scotty?
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. So I'm kind of like with your wife. I'm an early riser. If you talk to my mom, right, she would have not said I'd ever be an early riser as a kid growing up. But I think I'm thinking if Macaulay is like a parent, but possibly not, is I think as parents and as a leader, right, as a teacher, like our job is to be a leader, right? And I'm in the court of kind of like what you were saying, if getting 3 gym sessions in, if you can pull that off, awesome. If time is like super, super tight, you have a little bit of a commute to work or whatever, getting up early, kind of like what you were talking about, and then popping out for like a walk, like my non-negotiable for the people that I work with is like, hey, let's get like 30, 60 minutes of movement every day. That could be walking, right? That could just starting off with walking. Now, if she's getting like 2 hours of sleep, that's a different conversation. But as a leader, right? And if you want to be doing this long term as a teacher, right? I think they're gonna have to sacrifice a little bit if you want it, right? Now I always tell this, Mike, it's like, hey, this is what needs to happen. And if it's not that important, that's totally okay, right? But if it's important, you're gonna do it, right?
Yeah.
This is like totally random, but it's like, as a guy, right? This is what, if we meet our girl and like we are going to date this girl, and I'm like, it's not how I was with my wife. Like I'm gonna marry her. And I literally was
the same dude.
Right?
Yeah.
I was like sacrificing everything just to hang out with her. So if you want it that bad, right, you're gonna do it,
Yeah.
So anyways, that's kind of like what I would say. Big priority, right? Prioritize big time.
I think it comes down to time management is the key. Scheduling. I schedule everything in my diary because I need to have my time booked in. Yes, granted, my kids are older, and yes, I work from home, so there's a heap of advantages in that way. But there are a lot of disadvantages. But I schedule it in. I make it a non-negotiable. Shorten your workouts. Maybe instead of having 3 1-hour sessions, you could have 4 45-minute sessions. Like if time is an issue. Planning ahead your time, making sure you speak to your partner about it as well, and saying, hey, this is important to me. I'm going to have to sacrifice something here to do this. Getting her on board, or making sure that hopefully that makes sense in a way, Macaulay. But prioritizing what brings you closer to your goals sometimes has to come to fruition. I know if I could go back in time, I didn't sacrifice time to do exercise. Is the reason why I got so fat and depressed and anxious, because I didn't make it a non-negotiable. I was just hell-bent on working and making money, and that was it. I didn't have time for me, and now that I do have time for me, it's a non-negotiable. I have to make sure that my health is a priority. So hopefully that makes sense, Macaulay. It's a really good question, dude, and it's not something that I can wave a magic wand over and give you the right answer. But to me, it's if you want it bad enough, which I know because your results speak for themselves, and you ask the right questions, you're going to come down to saying, hey, I got to slot this in somewhere, and I got to figure out what I got to do to do it.
Yeah, that's spot on, man.
Yeah, cool. Another thing I think. Sorry, man. Go.
I was just gonna say, we literally kind of like you talked through a couple of things. Like we literally have more topics that we literally can pull through for our next live. Like talking as a parent, early parent of older kids, so.
Yeah, I think that's a great. I'll note that down because I'd love to do this again. I think it'd be perfect, and bouncing off each other in the essence that we're both, going through the same sort of thing in our life with growing a business and growing our followings and stuff like that. It's really cool to do that. The other thing I want to talk about with the February Blues is probably 2 more topics. I think routine monotony comes to my mind straight away. We've gone through 4 weeks of following the same workout, the same diet plan. And it begins to feel repetitive and boring. So a lot of people will jump off after that because they think, oh, God, I need to get these immediate results. and that means I can't be in a slight calorie deficit. So next February, I'm going to drop down to 1,200 calories and do something really stupid, not have all this, not have this energy. And so what I say to you guys is, okay, change your routine after 4 weeks if that makes you feel better. I know 8 weeks or 6 weeks is usually sort of the happy medium in seeing progressive overload progress, but if 4 weeks is your vibe and you're feeling like you need to change, hey, coach, I need another program. I feel stale. Cool, let's do it. Let's mix it up. Let's go from 3 to 4 days, or let's go from a body part split to a full body. Let's do something to reinvigorate it. Try new recipes. That'd be another thing. If you're sick of the same food, add some spices and stuff like that. Try new recipes. Go searching for them. Maybe you're not vibing in the gym. Maybe the gym's not right for you. Like that's another thing I feel like people, they sign up for a gym. They don't go and have a look at what it's like. I don't know about you, Scott. For me, when I first started, I would always go to the gym that I liked to go to at the time I wanted to go to see the type of clientele that was there and hey, this is going to fit my lifestyle and my vibe. Because if there's people there that intimidate you, the likelihood is you're not going to go back. So if that's something, maybe you need to go to another gym. I don't know. Your thoughts on that? Monotony?
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I mean, this is kind of like, I try to get ahead of this before anything where, workout wise, training wise, always different. It's never the same thing. It's always changing. There's a methodology behind it purposely for that, right? They're like, oh crud, it's Monday, this day. I'm like, we don't do that purposely. So nobody can be like, hey coach, man, I'm really bored today, but I like the topic that you just brought up on the whole gym thing, because the gym thing is so important. We always refer to it as like it's your second home. Everybody's looking for a second home. Everybody has a second home. Some people it's the bar. Some people it's someplace else. People that want to get healthy, man, it's the gym. So it's got to be a place that you like walk through the door, and it doesn't have to be like Cheers, right? But if you walk in and you want to feel good, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I would go right back to what you just said, man. Is if there's anything that's not vibing, get out and find another gym. And if you do not, this is kind of for people that do not have a gym or have a coach yet, like do the research, right? Interview people, have conversations with people, and then go with your gut feeling, right? Don't like do so much research that you never have any action, right? The moment you find something that you like, boom, get it, right? You get on a call with Mikey, you're like, dude, I love this dude's vibe. Go, right? Now it's time to move. But you get a gut feeling you're not feeling it, jump, get out of there.
Yeah, totally agree, man. Just mindful of time, dude. How long have you got left?
What's that?
How long have you? I thought you had an.
I got about 1 minute left.
Yeah, sweet. Okay, so let's just do a quick recap. I just wanted to be mindful of time. So I guess the point of the February Blues topic is that don't give up on yourself if you aren't seeing results really quickly. If there's a monotony, change the routine to make it work for you. Find the sacrifice that you can to get the job done. Just encourage yourself that it takes persistence and consistency to get to the next stage in life. And that means you've got to grind. That means sometimes you've got to eat the same foods all the time or do the same workout routine. So enjoy the journey and not the fucking destination.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I would close same thing, Mike. It's like, like do some forward thinking. Think of yourself in 365 days, right? Like, that future person, let's just say you've dropped the 10, 30 kilos, right? And you've done every single thing that you're supposed to do to get there. Are you really going to be complaining about the same routine today? If you're going to be there and you're going to get there, right? Are we going to be complaining, or should we just keep on staying the journey? Because we've been doing things, we'll say before we got into everything, we were doing things wrong, right? And we were just jumping to the next thing. And now we just got to stay the course.
Yeah. And having a coach in your corner is having somebody that's gone through the hard shit and that can produce you with a way forward that you just need to follow the plan and you'll get to the results.
100%, man.
Cool. Yeah. Well, if any of you guys vibe with this, like drop us both a follow, please, if you can. It really helps us out growing our following and that as well. And if you've got any questions, send Scotty a DM, send me a DM. We'd be happy to answer it. But I'd like to make this a regular thing, dude. So
I'm with you.
We'll book it in if we can. It'd be really cool to vibe on another topic. But thanks everyone for joining us today. Again, if you've got any questions, send them through. We'll be more than happy to help you. See ya.